Good afternoon. My name is Engineer Patrick Ajibalade. Today, I would like to discuss the topic lifting. Like I said in previous videos, I mentioned that I'm an appointed person for lifting operation, like a lifting supervisor. If you call it. I'm an appointed person for lifting operation, so I would like to explain some concepts in lifting. So lifting is a very hazardous operation. In the construction industry, in the oil industry, 50 to 60% of accidents that occur during lifting. And that is why special attention is being given to lifting activity. There are so many hazards that are associated with lifting activity. Lifting activity I'm referring to is using a crane to lift load. So that's kind of lifting I'm referring to. So there are so many hazards associated with it. Like the load you are lifting itself is an hazard. So it's very important to know the weight of what you don't just lift a load without having an idea of what the weight is. So the weight, the size, the shape of the load itself is a hazard. So it's important to know the load. We'll get back to knowing the load later. There are multiple commands when you have a crane operator and people giving him instructions on what to do are more than one. Then the operator, there's a tendency that is going to get confused. So multiple control is a hazard. We need single control, a single point control. Then use of incompetent workers in the course of lifting is a very big hazard. Incompetent personnel is a very big hazard. You must use very competent personnel. In lifting activities, the personnel usually involved are we have people that we call riggers. You have riggers, you have the rigger supervisor, you have the PIC. PIC is the person in charge of the lifting. You have appointed person for lifting operation, APLO. You have banksmen. There are special courses that each of those category of workers have to go through before they become competent and eligible to work in a lifting operation. The lifting activity is very dangerous, it's hazardous. So you need to be specially trained before you can get involved. Now I mentioned that the first thing to do in lifting, you must know the weight you are lifting. It is very key. Now, how do you know the weight you are lifting? There are different ways. Some weights or some load have a manufacturer's inscription on them. Some loads have manufacturer's inscription on them where the dimensions, the weights will be written. So that gives you an idea of the weight you are trying to lift from the manufacturer's inscription. Some other loads have like if you are importing something, it has bill of lading. Bill of lading contains a lot of information about the load, including the weight of the load. From there you can have an idea of the equipment to use in lifting the load. So where you don't have this information, you can also get an estimate by doing some rough calculations. For example, let me show us the load on this site at the moment. Okay, so the load we are seeing behind me now are called precast concrete piles. Precast concrete piles. They have square cross section, like 360 mm by 360 mm square cross section, 0.36 meters by 0.36 meters. Then the length is 12 meters. So with this information, you can calculate the volume of the load. That's length times breadth times height. 0.36 times 0.36 times 12 meters. You have an idea of the volume. Then depending on the material from which the load is made, in this case it's concrete. You can say the density of concrete, of the specific gravity of concrete, is 2.4. When you multiply that, you now have the weight of the load. It may not be exact because you don't even know what grade of concrete is this. You don't know the steel composition of it, but it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of the weight. So you can say, okay, plus or minus 5% or so. You can have an idea of what the load is. As a lifting personnel, you must not necessarily be an engineer or have an university degree, but you must know these basic calculations. You must know different shapes of load. You must have an idea how to calculate it, what formulas to use to know the weight. But it is important, before you attempt to lift a load, you must have an idea of the tonnage of the load. That gives you an idea of the equipment to use in lifting the load. When selecting the equipment, you must know the load you are lifting. It will save you a lot of time and prevent accidents. Okay. So the crane on this site, is a mobile crane. Let me show you the crane again. It's a mobile crane. You can see it has tires. That's why it's called a mobile crane. Some other ones that have track are called crawler cranes. This is a mobile crane. You can see the boom. The boom can retract and it can telescope outward. This is a telescopic boom. Depending on the distance where the load you want to pick is, you can telescope or you retract the boom. There are some booms that are fixed. The length is fixed, like those booms that have a basket boom. Those cranes that have basket boom. So before carrying out lifting activity, it is very important to have a lift plan. A lift plan. It is very important to have a lift plan. And what is a lift plan? A lift plan is a document where the details of the activity you want to carry out is well explained. The steps for your lifting is well detailed. The equipment you want to use is there are some calculations that you need to do to confirm if the equipment is the right equipment for the job. I'll get back to those calculations. The personnel you are engaging, where their competence will be displayed to show if they are the right personnel for the job. The lifting accessories you are going to be using, like shackles, like sling wires, like hooks, everything you are going to be using for the lifting, everything will be listed there. It is a safety, it's an HSE document. The whole idea of the document is to make sure that the lifting activity is carried out safely without any incident or accident. That's why I call it an HSE document in the real sense of it. Because the whole idea of it is to make sure the lifting activity is carried out smoothly, safely, without any problems. Every crane has what we call a load chart. A load chart is a document from the manufacturer. It's usually at the anyway, it varies. A load chart is a document prepared by the manufacturer of the lifting equipment that shows you the safe working load of the equipment or the working load limit of the equipment, and it shows you the capacity of that equipment at various configurations. What do I mean by various configurations? For example, if you look at this crane, you can see the boom of the crane is at certain angle. Probably as it is now is around 60 degrees. And you can see the length of the boom at this time. That is a particular configuration. This crane can lift a certain load with this configuration. If the length of the boom is increased by telescoping out and the angle of the boom is increased, the maximum load the crane can carry at that configuration will vary. For example, this crane can be a 50-ton crane, but at certain configurations, this crane may not be able to pick a 10-ton load because of the configuration. A 10-ton load can topple this crane and make this crane fall. I've seen it in different occasions. So the configuration of a crane affects the capacity of the crane. And that is the essence of the lift plan. With the aid of the load chart, you'll be able to know, given the weight of the load we intend to lift, be able to design and plan the lift by saying, okay, the boom should be at certain angle and the length of the boom should be so meters. That specific configuration gives the crane certain capacity. So it is your duty as the PIC, person in charge of the lifting, or the appointed person for lifting operation, to write that lift plan, to design the lift plan to suit the site conditions. Sometimes you may have some obstructions on the way that may not allow easy lifting of the load. All those things are put inside the lift plan. They are incorporated into the lift plan so that the lifting will go on safely. In the next video, I'll be talking about in detail how to write a lift plan I'll be talking about the lifting accessories, shackles, types of shackles, sling wires, types of sling wires. I'll be talking a lot about different aspects of lifting activity. Please kindly follow my channel, subscribe to my channel so that you will be learning from my wealth of experience. I'll be teaching us more things as a field engineer, as a practicing engineer, as a lifting engineer. There are one or two things which were not giving much attention while we were in the universities, but from working experience now, there are some things that we have now learned. I'll be sharing one or two experiences here on my channel, so I'd like you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Bye.